painting The Battle Between Carnival and Lent is one of a number of paintings by Pieter Brueghel the Younger in the Museum of Fine Arts in Brussels. Brueghel and his father were well known for detailed paintings full of wit and life depicting peasant life in Flanders. Pieter Brueghel did several versions on this theme after an original of his father's dating from 1569. It is a painting that one could literally look at for hours, since it contains over 200 distinct figures doing various activities. The painting depicts a mock battle, like a joust, between the two contrasting sides of Carnival on one side and Lent on the other. Lent, a 40-day period of fasting lasting from Ash Wednesday to Easter, was observed and imposed by the Catholic Church, and was also marked by almsgiving and other kinds of self-denial. Carnival, which means farewell to meat, was the period of indulgence before this fast, and climaxed with Shrove Tuesday, known more often to our modern culture as Mardi Gras, or Fat Tuesday. Mardi Gras is depicted as a fat man riding a huge beer barrel, his buttons straining. He wears a large pie as a hat, and uses cooking pots as his stirrups. On his jousting lance he has a pig's head, a roast chicken, and various sausages. He is followed by a series of mummers, many dressed in culinary costumes like egg necklaces and cooking pot hats, and playing bizarre instruments. In the background, a woman bakes waffles, originally made only in carnival season, over an open fire. Ash Wednesday, on the other hand, is shown as an emaciated man in a nun's habit, sitting upon a church kneeler on a float pulled by a monk and a nun. His weapon is a baker's peel, on which there are two meager herrings, a cheap staple of the Lenten diet. He is surrounded by dry bread, pretzels, and mussels, which were also Lenten food, and on his head he wears a beehive, a symbol of Mother Church. His followers perform acts of penitence and charity. The two parties in the joust are each followed by a whole entourage, with Mardi Gras parade coming down the left side of the painting, and Ash Wednesdays from the right. Each of these parades is centered on particular buildings that were a central part of life in any Flemish village: the pub, or tavern, for Mardi Gras, and the church for Ash Wednesday. Brueghel does not take sides in this conflict, but sees the folly in both. On the Mardi Gras side, he depicts the follies and vices that lead to the degrading of a person. As well as gambling, he shows a group of leering people watching a play called The Dirty Bride, a farce from the time, featuring an unsavory peasant couple. Another man stands on a barrel in front of the second pub and drinks while children cheer for him, and a neighbor empties a bucket of slops on his head. A second play, in front of the other tavern, depicts the doings of a wild man raised with no limits. This picture of indulgence gains an even more sinister side when we look in the corner and see a man, waffles in his hat, dicing with another man dressed as the devil. The implication is that the end result of such license is damnation. On the other side of the painting, though, rather than depicting the corresponding virtues as desirable, we see an abstinence that is showy and probably hypocritical. Holy women with ashes on their foreheads wear a lugubrious and mournful expression as they leave the church, while the more wealthy or honored people exit the church by the main door. The poorer churchgoers must leave via a side door, carrying their own chairs. As rich people give alms to beggars, cripples, and the sick, we see other beggars rushing their sick out to the parade to take advantage of the bounty. And once again in the corner there is a shocking image, that of a widow begging with her baby, while the drowned corpse of her sailor husband lies there. Apparently, Brueghel thinks that this feigned and excessive piety is no more healthy than the indulgence of the other side. The viewpoint of the painter on the whole is from above, to judge both its legalism and its license. On the opposite side of the painting, just parallel to where the painter is on the other side of the square, is a strange figure sitting in the window. This is thought by some to be a representative of the painter himself, and invites the audience also to look on the scene with a critical eye. Right in the middle of all this are two more critiques that sum up the painting. A couple, each of whom seems drawn from the opposite sides of the painting, are being led by a fool dressed in motley and carrying a lit lantern in the middle of the day. Carrying a lantern in daytime was a common proverb in Flanders and signified foolishness. It seems that both sides are being seen in a foolish light. But also in the middle of the painting is a well. On one side of the well is a pig, a symbol of Carnival, and on the other, a fishmonger's table setting up for Lent. But the well, as the center, reminds the viewer of something fresh and life-giving, the gift of God in both feast and famine, and Himself as the source of true life.